Browns training camp day 12, Deshaun Watson's day with the first team offense. He had a horrible overthrown pass that was intercepted. That's now 9 interceptions in 12 practices. And I want to try to be somewhat objective here, but these are the types of throws that are the reason why the Browns simply cannot go back to Watson this season. The first team defense today didn't even have Denzel Ward or Tyson Campbell. They didn't even have their second string corners, D'Angelo Ross or Damari Mathis. It was Trey Avery and Teron Herring as your starting cornerbacks today. Herring was the one who came away with the pick. Now, to be fair, Watson did bounce back, had some really nice throws throughout the rest of practice. Jerry Jeudy, Denzel Boston had a really nice deep shot touchdown to Isaiah Bond, though, to be fair, Quincy Williams 100% would have had the sack on that play. Dylan Gabriel also threw a bad interception today for anyone still keeping track of him. Shedeur Sanders was with the twos today, but now it was Shedeur eating into some of Watson's first team work in the 7-on-7 drills. One note I've been seeing a lot lately, people criticizing Shedeur for not throwing very tight spirals. Now, it's a valid point. I don't think anyone would deny he doesn't throw the tightest spirals ever, but reports say he's also dealing right now with blistering on the fingers on his throwing hand, so that could be why we've seen more of those wobbly passes in recent days. And hey, for the record, I don't care if the ball zips, wobbles, or quacks in the air as long as it gets to the freaking receiver. And so far, he's been the best one at avoiding turnovers. But I thought this post I saw today from Zach Jackson was interesting. He said the separator right now between the two quarterbacks, if there is one, is in the move the ball game simulation periods, not in drills, not in total quality throws or the sharing that goes with alternating stuff. Watson has had more productive move the ball sessions than Shedeur has to this point. But hold on then, Daniel Ofusi posted this. The first move the ball session for the number one offense went nowhere fast. On third down, the defensive line pressure got to Watson, and he one-hopped a pass to Casey Concepcion. And if you've been watching any of Cameron Justice's compilation videos, you know there's been some of those patented Deshaun Watson dirt balls so far in camp. So basically, no one has any real idea what's going on. What I can tell you from personally being at camp and talking to people there who I trust, Shedeur Sanders has been the overall more consistent quarterback so far this summer. But that was a lot of information and notes on the quarterback situation today. Make sure you guys check out my second video for the rest of the news and notes from today's practice.
Ask me who's got the best ball placement. It's Shedeur. Who's got the most beautiful looking football? It's probably Deshaun. But Shedeur, dude, I still can't believe how many people think this battle is over. I mean, Deshaun has 9 picks in 12 practices. Shedeur, I don't think has that many. And that's a good ball. That's a good ball. Right, more Deshaun Watson in here, 7-on-7, looks, scans, fires down the field, and finds Cedric Tillman wide open down the sideline for what looks to potentially be a touchdown. Can't really see what's going on here, but does drop this thing into a bucket as well. So that's back-to-back great throws by Shedeur and Deshaun Watson, one leading to a touchdown with Cedric Tillman and Deshaun. All right, before we get any further into this video, guys, do me a big time favor. Hit the like button if you haven't already done so. Let's see if we...
Nobody saw this coming. Not the Cleveland media, not the national NFL analysts, and definitely not the people who already wrote Shedeur Sanders off before training camp even started. Because right now, on the practice fields of Berea, Ohio, something is happening that nobody predicted. A battle that was supposed to be over isn't. A quarterback who was supposed to fade quietly into the background won't. And a rookie who was supposed to be overwhelmed is outplaying a 2-time Pro Bowler in front of everyone watching. Stick around, because what's happening in Cleveland right now is about to change everything you thought you knew about this quarterback room.
Throws his intended target, an interception by the defense as they win that rep there. It looks like we get like a post, maybe by a tight end. Let's watch it one more time. Again, play action fake, bootleg, but there's going to be edge pressure, which is going to force him to stop the boot, step back up in the pocket. You're going to see 86 here going for this deep post behind the second level of this defense, right? We got one-on-one, but there's a safety over the top. And as we step up, we just put a little bit too much air under this. They were on this thing. And yeah, easy intercept for the defense. Love this footage way more. I'm going to try to get this guy's clips because you can just see so much better. So this one's going to be Shedeur Sanders. Looks like second down.
For months, the narrative was simple. Deshaun Watson is the guy. He's the $230 million man. He's the guaranteed starter. Shedeur Sanders is just there, a developmental piece, a name for headlines. But here's where things get crazy. Head coach Todd Monken still hasn't named a starter, not close to it. He's splitting first-team reps between Watson and Sanders, and he's promised both quarterbacks a start in the preseason opener against Chicago. That's not what you do with a battle that's already decided. That's what you do when a battle is genuinely, legitimately up for grabs. Now pay attention to this. Through nearly 2 weeks of training camp practices, insiders tracking every rep have noticed something that should be sending shockwaves through Cleveland sports talk radio. Deshaun Watson has multiple interceptions across a dozen practices. Sanders, the so-called project, has not thrown a single one in that same stretch. That's not a small detail. That's not a footnote. That's the entire story hiding in plain sight. Because if you turned on sports talk radio this month, you'd think Watson was cruising and Sanders was scrambling to survive. The tape says something completely different. Let's go back to one specific rep. Watson runs a play-action bootleg, steps up under pressure, airs it out deep down the field. Overthrown, picked off. Defense wins the rep clean. Now compare that to Sanders on the very next series. Pressure everywhere, offensive line collapsing around him, a near certain sack developing in real time. And somehow, he finds his tight end underneath. Live rep, live pressure, live completion. That's not luck, that's poise. That's the exact trait people spent a year insisting Sanders didn't have.
It was a little bit more to the sideline, would have been a little bit more safer, but not a bad ball whatsoever. All right, look at this ball by Shedeur Sanders. Really good. We're going to see press man coverage here with Denzel Boston. Safety over the top. There might be another one. Can't really tell right here. But Shedeur looks over the middle, turns and fires. Knew he was going to Denzel Boston every day of the week. Safety tries to rotate over. Looks like he's a little bit late. Get a one-on-one ball here. We drop it in a bucket to Denzel Boston, but 11 Avery makes a beautiful play and gets that PBU. That is a beautiful throw, an almost beautiful catch, but even better play by the DB who initially gets beat off the line. And Shedeur, I mean, again,
here's where the media's argument completely falls apart. For a full year, the story was that Sanders held the ball too long, that he couldn't process fast enough, that he wasn't built for NFL speed. But watch him now. Watch the ball placement on that corner route to Tylan Wallace. Watch the anticipation on the throw to Denzel Boston, dropped into a bucket in tight coverage before the safety could even rotate over. That's a quarterback who sees the field. That's timing. That's rhythm. So why is the narrative still stuck in 2025? Now here's something most fans have completely missed. Deshaun Watson isn't trying to bury Sanders. He's mentoring him. Multiple insiders inside the building describe Watson as a genuine presence in that quarterback room, pushing the young guys, including Sanders, to get better every single day. Think about that for a second. The man competing for his own job, the man with the most to lose, is actively helping the rookie chasing his spot get sharper. That's not something you see in a typical ruthless quarterback competition. That tells you something about the character in that room, and it tells you something about how seriously Sanders is being taken. But that's not even the most shocking part of this story, because the numbers tell a completely different story about why this offense suddenly looks different. Cleveland's receiving core was historically bad in 2025, the worst production from a receiver room in over a decade. So what did the front office do? They drafted 2 receivers in the first 40 picks for the first time by any franchise since the 1996 Jets. Denzel Boston, KC Concepcion. Add that to Jerry Jeudy, and suddenly whoever wins this quarterback job isn't walking into an empty cupboard. They're walking into a weapon-loaded offense that didn't exist a year ago. And if Sanders is the one who ends up under center with this new arsenal, that changes everything.
Jared Verse might not be Myles Garrett, but he is good. Another one here from Deshaun Watson, steps up in the pocket, finds Denzel Boston wide open, and picks up a nice chunk of yards, man. Denzel Boston is going to be huge. And it seems like it's not just one-on-one yes-no reads. It's a lot of dig routes. It's a lot of go balls as well, right? A lot of comeback routes. But they're utilizing him in a lot of different situations. It's not just one-on-ones. So that's huge. That's huge for Denzel Boston. Again, Shedeur got a lot of reps yesterday. Today, Deshaun Watson's getting those reps. Right here, we get a blitz, sacked by Quincy Williams. Deshaun loads it up anyway and finds Isaiah Bond. Beautiful ball by Deshaun. Again, they're not going to count this as a sack.
Now let's talk about what's happening off camera. League sources have suggested that if Sanders doesn't take command of this job convincingly, the front office won't hesitate to lean back on Watson, even in a limited role, to stabilize the offense. That's real pressure. That's a real deadline hanging over a 24-year-old quarterback in just his second training camp. But here's the twist nobody expected. Instead of folding under that pressure, Sanders has responded by taking the vast majority of reps with the starting offense on multiple practice days, outpacing even Watson in padded live tempo work. Pressure was supposed to break him. Instead, it's revealing him. That's not the only battle happening in Berea. Cleveland's rebuilt defensive front, led by names like Jared Verse and Mason Graham, has been an absolute problem for both quarterbacks. Sack after sack, pressure after pressure, the offensive line has struggled to hold up in nearly every padded period. And here's the part that matters most. Both Watson and Sanders have had to operate under that same chaos, same pressure, same collapsing pocket, same unforgiving pass rush. Which means whatever separation is happening right now isn't happening because one quarterback has it easier than the other. It's happening because one of them is handling the chaos better. So where does that leave us? A former #1 overall draft pick, a $230 million veteran, still hasn't locked down the job, and a fifth-round rookie who was doubted by nearly everyone in the league last spring is making people inside that building rethink everything they assumed about him. Todd Monken hasn't named a starter, Andrew Berry hasn't committed publicly to anyone, and every single practice right now is a referendum on who Cleveland's franchise quarterback actually is. Whether you love Shedeur Sanders or you don't buy the hype for a second, one thing is becoming impossible to deny. Every single time they try to write him off, he keeps giving people a reason to believe. And in a league that runs on doubt, that might be the most dangerous thing of all. If this breakdown opened your eyes to what's really happening in Cleveland, hit that like button, drop a comment with who you think wins this job, and subscribe so you don't miss the next update from Browns training camp, because this quarterback battle is just getting started.